Amid soaring inflation and falling incomes, every third resident of Russia fears poverty because of the war against Ukraine. These are the results of a survey by the Russian Fleet Group. 62% of residents are worried about the number of casualties in the war, 38% are worried about the psychological state of those who have returned, and 33% fear poverty and economic crisis.
Concern about most of the listed problems decreases from younger to older age groups. The exception is the problem of human casualties. It is mentioned by 60 to 65% of respondents in all groups. Low-income Russians are considerably more concerned about the possible growth of poverty and the economic crisis. 37% versus 29% among affluent respondents. From the Russian Field Survey.
The dollar exchange rate in Russia is growing, and most Russians have already been left without a part of their accumulated money, which many have been saving for decades, and the situation is only getting worse. Meanwhile, Росстат publishes its data and declares that the poverty rate has fallen by almost 2% compared to last year.
In the second quarter of 2023, the poverty line was 14,184 rubles. The number of people with incomes below the poverty line was 15.7 million people, or 10.8% of the country's population. From the message on the Russian State Statistics Service website. The population is chasing cheap goods. Food shops are providing discounts. The population is getting poorer. The population is shrinking.
But officials do not care about this. For example, in Yekaterinburg, City Duma Deputy Alexander Kolesnikov criticized the mayor's office for refusing to raise the price for public transport fees. He suggested that those who do not have money should walk.
The policy pursued by the Russian authorities is a policy of criminal and extremely costly war against Ukraine, which has entitled, among other things, major Western sanctions, loss of assets abroad, and many other economic problems. This policy objectively leads to the fact that the population is getting poorer and the standard of living is declining.
Already almost half of the Russians complain that their salaries are not enough even for basic needs, food, clothes, and payment for utilities. The population is rapidly getting poorer and shrinking, sociologists say. This is the reason why a rather serious social catastrophe is brewing in Russia.
Putin is interested in the welfare of the growing population. Any ruler is more interested in this than not, because it works for their popularity, for the stability of the regime and so on. But it is not possible to simultaneously wage a criminal and costly war, quarrel with the Western world, and develop the economy and the population's standard of living.
Rising poverty provokes a sharp increase in immigration. Almost 4,500 people have renounced Russian citizenship in 2023. It is a record figure in the last few years, the Russian Foreign Ministry said. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.